Following action by the EU and the UK over Xinjiang region of China, China has announced sanctions against British individuals and groups. What the Western bloc has done is based only on lies and false information, said the Chinese Foreign Ministry on Friday. Those affected by the sanctions are not allowed to visit Chinese territory. They are also not allowed to do financial business with Chinese citizens and institutions, it said. 9 individuals and 4 institutions were sanctioned, including British MP Ian Duncan Smith. The EU and Great Britain imposed sanctions on 4 Chinese officials on Monday for alleged human rights abuses in Xinjiang. The Chinese government is accused of detaining more than 1 million Uyghur and other Muslim minorities in the region, imposing forced labor and enforcing contraception. And another thing is, London and Hong Kong argue over B&O passports. For months, the so-called B&O passports have been a burden on the relationship between Great Britain and its former Crown colony. Hong Kong has now ordered 14 countries to stop accepting the UK travel document. The dispute between Great Britain and the Chinese Hong Kong Special Administrative Region over the validity of the B&O passports, that's British National Overseas Passport, is entering a new round. Hong Kong's government said it had asked consulates in 14 countries to no longer recognize the so-called B&O passport as a travel document for so-called work holidays abroad. Young people in particular like to use the document to apply for work vacation visas in Europe and also in North America and parts of Asia. There are corresponding agreements on work stays with Australia, Germany, France, Ireland, Italy, Japan, Canada, the Netherlands, New Zealand, Austria, Sweden, South Korea, Hungary, and the UK, of course. The British government criticized the move and announced that it would continue to issue B&O passports. The Hong Kong government does not have the power to determine which passports foreign governments accept as valid. The British National Overseas Passport originally guaranteed the citizens of Hong Kong who were born before 1997, the year of the British-Chinese Treaty transferring the Crown Colony to the People's Republic, freedom of movement in their travel plans. After the introduction of the so-called Chinese security law last year, London expanded the privileges for passport holders. Since then, they and their families have had easier access to British citizenship. Currently, around 350,000 Hong Kong residents have B&O passports that allow them to easily stay in the UK. According to the new regulation from London, up to 5.4 million Hong Kong residents are theoretically entitled to such a passport. The B&O pass is a special status created under UK law in 1987 and specifically related to Hong Kong. And, talking about former Crown colonies, the fact that the Caribbean has the highest concentration of territories classified as non-self-governing by the United Nations is a lasting reminder of the region's colonial past. At first glance, a political map of the Caribbean may seem like a kaleidoscope of independent microstates scattered among the remaining overseas possessions of post-colonial powers. In 2000, the Overseas Countries and Territories Associations, the OCTA or OCTA, was founded in Brussels to promote cooperation between the European Union and the overseas dependencies of its member states. In the context of the Caribbean, the organization has played a vital role in the development of the otherwise isolated territories. The finalization of Brexit, however, has resulted not only in the withdrawal of the United Kingdom from the European Union, but also in the removal of the United Kingdom's Overseas Territories Association, the UK OTA, from the rest of OCTA. While Gibraltar, the only territory that was allowed to vote in the 2016 referendum, received considerable public attention during the withdrawal negotiations, the United Kingdom's 5 Caribbean territories have been largely overlooked. Apart from the North and South American countries that comprise the region's continental periphery, there are a total of 13 independent states in the Caribbean today. Both Cuba and the Dominican Republic are former Spanish colonies, while Haiti was once a colony of France. However, the vast majority of these states, Antigua and Barbuda, the Bahamas, Barbados, Dominica, Grenada, Jamaica, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as well as Trinidad and Tobago, are former British colonies. All of them remain associated with the United Kingdom through the Commonwealth of Nations, although Barbados has voted to join Dominica and Trinidad and Tobago in removing the monarchy as its head of state at the end of 2021. Compared to other regions of the world, the Caribbean's ratio of dependent territories to independent states is relatively high. The United States governs Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands. It also claims possession of Weser Island as well as the Bajo Nuevo and the Serranilla banks, the first of which is disputed with Haiti and the latter two with Colombia. The islands of Guadeloupe, Martinique and Saint-Martin are all integral departments of France and thus members of both the European Union's Schengen area and single market. Besides its overseas departments, France also governs the territory of Saint-Barthélemy. Similarly, the Netherlands administered the territories of Aruba, Bonaire, Curaçao, Saba, Sint Eustatius and Sint Maarten. The United Kingdom, for its part, rules over Anguilla, the British Virgin Islands, the Cayman Islands, Montserrat, as well as the Turks and Caicos Islands. Until Brexit, all of these territories were associated with the European Union through OCTA. Following the United Kingdom's formal break with the European Union, however, they now find themselves drifting in uncharted waters. I made a video about Anguilla, for example, quite some time ago. Due to their geographic isolation, small sizes and limited natural resources, the OCTA members of the Caribbean have faced considerable issues with economic development. Through its cooperation with European Union institutions, OCTA's priorities are to make advancements in the following key areas: environment and climate change, renewable energies, financial services, trade and regional integration, as well as education and innovation. Like all OCTA members, the United Kingdom territories have benefited considerably from their relationship with the European Union. Following Hurricane Ivan in 2004, the European Development Fund, the EDF, allocated 7 million euros for the reconstruction of houses and an additional 4 million euros for the building of a weather radar on the Cayman Islands. Similarly, in the aftermath of Hurricanes Ike and Hannah in 2008, the EDF granted 6.25 million to the Turks and Caicos Islands for reparations. As part of its 2014-2020 budget, the EDF contributed 14 million to Anguilla, 18.4 million to Montserrat, and 14.6 million to the Turks and Caicos Islands to strengthen their respective private sectors. During this time, only Montserrat was receiving additional budgetary aid from the United Kingdom. Of all the United Kingdom's Caribbean territories, Anguilla was perhaps the most dependent on its relationship with the European Union. Before Brexit, financial assistance from the EDF accounted for 36% of Anguilla's total budget, while the Dutch territory of Sint Eustatius was the source of 90% of Anguilla's energy supply. Food, medicine, bottled water, and even mail would arrive in Anguilla from the French département of Saint-Martin. In fact, both islands are so close that they are visible from each other's coastlines and share a marine border. No longer members of OCTA, Anguilla residents have lost their right to visa-free travel in the Schengen area. The OCTA Ministerial Conference that took place in December 2020 made it a priority to emphasize the importance to maintain the long cooperation between UK territories and OCTs associated with the EU, and decided to explore the future collaboration with the UK overseas territories with the objective of the finalization and signature of a memorandum of understanding between UKOTA and OCTA by the end of March 2021. UKOTA has also declared that its priorities are having tariffs lifted, establishing a new relationship with the EU, and looking at what mechanism the UK government will be putting in place to replace EU funding streams. James Duddridge, former Parliamentary Under-Secretary of State at the Foreign and Commonwealth Office and supporter of the Leave camp, argued that an independent Britain can spend more time developing its historic ties rather than be shackled by the regulation and political infrastructure that is a federal union, and added that OTs value the relationship with the UK more than the EU. This statement was made in 2016, the year that the future of the United Kingdom's overseas territories was decided in a referendum from which they were almost entirely excluded. And now talk again about democracy. Though the Brexit process is now complete, it's not too late for the United Kingdom to reconsider what is best for its Caribbean territories. Whether that means playing a more active role in supporting them or renegotiating a relationship with Octa. But the UK has to make a decision. And my video about Anguilla a lot of months ago now, before the final Brexit, already said it. The forgotten territories, because nothing has happened there. And they are so dependent on the EU territories down there. Something has to happen. And if you want to stay informed, please subscribe to my channel. Auf Wiedersehen.